I'm Caitlin Brinkerhoff.
And I'm Emily Yockey, and today we're going to learn exactly where a sweet local treat comes from.
Today we're visiting with Barb and Dean Johnson at Adaville Honey Company to learn a little bit more about beekeeping and where honey comes from.
I'm Dean Johnson. We call our company the Adaville Honey Company. My wife Barb, and we live on an acreage about a mile from the Adaville store, which was just down the road. There's a church there now, and we use some of the pictures from the old time store that was there and the old church that was there on our logo for our advertising and stuff.
We've been beekeepers for 5 years here in Plymouth County. We sell at Lamar's Farmers Market. We've been there. We've been at Merrill Farmers Market, Hinton Farmers Market. We sell out of our pickups, and people can call. So that's pretty much where we are.
I first saw bees at the Plymouth County Fair in Lamar's a few years ago and was kind of interested in seeing the bees and the display that they had. And then I was shopping in one of the stores in town, and they had a flyer. If you want to keep bees, here's the different things you would need to have. So I just told a couple guys at work that, I might think about doing this, and all of a sudden one of the guys said, well, my brother used to work for the bee supply place in Sioux City, I'll give the guy a call and get started. And it just rolled from there, talking to people, and the number of people that have relatives that have kept bees, and the interest just kept going. And we had 3 hives our first year, and it was a learning experience, and it still is, and just a wonderful hobby. We took a class in Sioux Center, and the professor that taught the class and everybody else we talked to suggests you always start out with 2 hives, because if something happens to one of them, you can take parts of another one to keep them going. And we talked about having a few more, and Barb thought 10 was enough, and this year we're sitting with 16 colonies right now.
Some are small, some are large, but yeah, through the years we've done okay.
Our honey that we get is just like the corn and beans you see in the fields almost, the commodities you get. It all depends on the weather. Last year was a wet, cold spring.
The year before was too.
And stuff, and the bees like it hot and dry, so this summer has been wonderful for our bees. And some places like in South Dakota, there's a lot more open space with wildflowers and the different resources that they have, like the sunflowers and canola and things like that, is better for the bees. When I first started here, I talked to a lady who was part of Northwest Iowa Beekeepers, and she asked, what do you have around you? And I said, beans and corn. Well, you don't want to even keep bees then, because you don't have this stuff. But we proceeded to get the bees anyway, and people ask me, where do the bees get their stuff? Well, every weed that we have in the road ditches, every plant or flower that's in the waterways,
every dandelion that comes up in the spring and fall. We've got dandelions blooming here right now.
So the bees will fly up, 2-3 miles sometimes to find their resources. But ideally, you'd have a place that's all wildflowers in nature. But we don't have that right here. Some people are luckier to have that. We notice that commercial beekeepers keep their hives along rivers and stuff where there's a lot more trees and resources there. The resources that they can get. Sometimes you get a lot, and sometimes it's real small. And so a lot of it depends on the weather. You have to keep it's like livestock too. You have to keep your bees healthy, take care of them, and check for diseases. And varroa mites is a big issue that we have to keep watch on.
One of the things with beekeeping for us as beekeepers, we're not so concerned about how much honey is produced every year. What's more concerning for us is how healthy our bees are. And so we work towards healthy bees. We are trying to do queen rearing so that we can grow healthy queens that will survive the Iowa winters. And so if we don't have as much honey one year, that's okay. It's a byproduct. It's not our main product. The bees are the main important part of our process.
It's a lot of scientific biology type stuff with the bees. You learn in school that there's a lot of things that you need to know when you're starting out. I don't care about that. I don't know about flowers. I could care less about them. But now, once you have bees, you need this resource, and when do these flowers bloom, and you just see the whole spectrum of nature in a different way. You know, you notice things that are blooming early in the spring, and like this time in the fall, you see the goldenrod popping up here and there. You know, you're looking for places for your bees to get resources and pollen and their nectar, and that's one of the big surprises I see.
And to teach other people, to share our knowledge. Dina's built 2 observation hives, and we take those many places. To farmers market we'll take it, and someone will say, oh, look at the ants. Well, they're not ants, they're bees, they're honeybees, they're not a bumblebee. And so it's sharing our knowledge with others, and that's really important so that people can know their food source and know honey has so many good things for a person's body. It's natural sugar, it's the way it was done and the way it comes, and it has good things for you. It has antioxidants, it has sugar, and it has carbohydrates for you. So there's good things about honey. Yes, a bee can sting. That's only a female bee. The male bee doesn't sting. A drone doesn't sting. But a honeybee does. And when they sting, they also die. So their life expectancy for a honeybee is only 6 weeks. That's all they live. And so it's interesting to know these things, learn these things, and share them with other people.
If you're real careful and the bees are good, you know, you can get by without being stung. But sometimes there's bees that are real possessive of their ground and will follow you from here, you know, 2 blocks away to keep you away from their hive.
We're invading their home when we go in and work in a hive. So it's kind of a territorial thing. But, you know, we're there to help them. They don't always realize that. And so sometimes they are angry. And yes, that's when they sting, when they're angry. If we go in and we're just out here working, they don't bother us. They're about their business, going and gathering more pollen. And they've got things to do, and they've got a pace to go at. And so, you know, we work together. And that, we've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of that. And having people come out, see the bees, and learn about them from all ages. 3 and 4 years old are coming and learning and wanting to be a beekeeper when they grow up. So it's awesome to share.